So the speech is entitled Enugu and Adamawa Guba polls. Same scenario, different outcomes. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. As you all are aware, INEC has just made a return on the Adamawa State gubernatorial election following the supplementary election that took place on 15th April 2023. Kindly recall that Adamawa and Enugu scenarios are materially the same, though with different outcomes. The sham that took place in Enugu on 18th March was exactly what emboldened the Adamawa REC to attempt to usurp the powers of the Adamawa State Returning Officer in such a shameful, disgraceful, and shambolic manner. The REC in Adamawa must have reasoned that if the INEC National Chairman, Professor Mahmood Yakubu, could easily usurp the powers of the Enugu State Returning Officer by constituting a committee that strangely sat to deduct and award votes to candidates in flagrant disobedience to the provisions of the Electoral Act, he too could do the same and get away with it. You may recall that in Enugu, after the collation of 16 local government areas out of the 17 LGAs of the state, the Labour Party candidate, Honorable Chijioke Edoga, was leading with over 11,000 votes. This lead by the Labour Party was in consonance with the results of the other declared elections in the state, wherein the Labour Party won 2 of the 3 senatorial seats in the state, 7 out of the 8 rep seats in the state, and 14 out of the 24 seats in the House of Assembly of the state. Where then lies the path to victory for the PDP in that election, judging from the above established voting pattern? Surprisingly, the PDP in Enugu, working in cahoots with the INEC, shockingly and provocatively wrote and awarded to the PDP a whooping 30,000 votes at Nkanu East LGA, the LGA of the PDP candidate. According to figures from the INEC Beavers, Nkanu East local government area recorded a total number of 15,000 accredited voters on the election day. However, when the votes were declared, the PDP was allocated a total number of 30,350 votes, while a total number of 1,855 was credited to the Labour Party. So the big question is, how could INEC have turned out over 33,000 votes in Nkanu East local government area that had only about 15,000 accredited voters? The ready answer is that the Electoral Act was literally thrown under the bus by writing results without recourse to the Beavers. One had expected the INEC to cancel the results of the polling units in Nkanu East local government area, where there were manifest overvoting in line with Section 51, subsection 2 of the Electoral Act, which stipulates that where there are established incidents of overvoting in any polling unit, the returning officer has an obligation under the law to cancel the elections in those polling units and order a rerun. Following the protests by the Labour Party agents and the agents of other political parties, in addition to the reluctance of Professor Madu Bibisi Ofo Iwe, the state returning officer, to accept the Nkanu East local government area results, the collation was temporarily suspended by Professor Mahmood Yakubu, the INEC National Chairman, who then unlawfully took charge of the situation by constituting a committee that illegally sidestepped the Electoral Act by awarding and subtracting votes indiscriminately. Again, at the time of declaration of Enugu State gubernatorial election results, there were a total number of 21,156 persons with PVCs yet to cast their votes across the state because elections did not hold in their polling units due to violence. And ladies and gentlemen, I must tell you that from the figures we gleaned, from the information we gleaned from the INEC IREF, INEC clearly recorded that elections did not take place in these polling units because of violence. It was clearly recorded by INEC. Recall that in the final result, as declared by INEC, the candidate of the PDP purportedly polled a total number of 160,895 votes, while the candidate of the Labour Party polled a total of 157,552 votes. In other words, the candidate of the PDP purportedly won by 3,343 votes. From the above analysis, it is therefore glaring that the above figure of 21,156 persons with PVCs is substantial enough to effect the final outcome of the election. Yet, INEC curiously rushed to return a winner without conducting supplementary election as they did in Adamawa State. In addition, the number of cancelled votes far exceeded the margin of lead between the candidates of the Labour Party and the PDP. Kindly note that the Electoral Act provides that when the number of cancelled votes exceeds the margin of lead, a rerun should be conducted in the affected units or units, as the case may be, before a return could be made. Notwithstanding these clear provisions the INEC in Enugu bizarrely returned a winner in an election that was literally inconclusive. It is therefore against the above background that we at the Labour Party Coalition for True Democracy wish to state that it is the Enugu State Electoral Playbook that the Resident Electoral Commissioner in Adamawa attempted to rehash in the state. The rogue Adamawa rec, who tried to commit electoral larceny in the state, drew inspiration from what transpired in Enugu. He was indeed emboldened by the seeming sources of the prior action of his bosses at Abuja in INEC, who perpetrated similar acts of power usurpation without any repercussions. Every well-meaning Nigerian should therefore be worried about the brazen nature of the crime that took place in Enugu State on 18th March 2023. Enugu and Adamawa presented a similar situation, but surprisingly, a different outcome played out. Is it because the former is Enugu while the latter is Adamawa? Like the great of Madame Fodio would say, conscience is an open wound. Only the truth can heal it. Just like a national daily rightly situated it, what happened in Enugu is a new low in our democratic journey, and this should worry everyone who means well for our democracy. Nigerians should understand that even though it is Enugu today, it could be the turn of another state tomorrow if we allow the brigands who perpetrated this act in Enugu to get away with their rascality. Like the great Martin Niemöller would say, first, they came for the socialists, and I did not speak because I was not a socialist. Then they came for the trade unionists, and I did not speak out because I was not a trade unionist. Then they came for the Jews, and I did not speak out because I was not a Jew. Then when they came for me, there was no one left to speak for me. We therefore urge Nigerians to speak out now. This is the time when every Nigerian who is a Nigerian, who considers posterity, who considers the kind of judgment that he or she will be received by the posterity, to stand up now and save our democracy. What has happened in Enugu State it epitomizes what is happening in Nigeria. They did this on the 25th of February when they robbed Labour Party of the presidential election, and they've repeated it in Enugu in an election that was clearly won by the Labour Party. In an election where Labour Party recorded 2 out of the 3 senatorial seats in the state, Labour Party won 2. 7 out of the 8, Labour Party won 7. 14 out of 24 members. Where is the path to victory for PDP in that election? Even as we continue to have implicit faith in the judiciary to right the wrongs perpetrated by INEC in Enugu Guba election, we must not fail to remind the robbers that the ghost of the electoral robbery incident that took place in Enugu State on March 18 will continue to haunt all the dramatics personnel involved in that act, especially the unpatriotic elements in INEC that worked in collusion with desperate politicians to subvert the will of Enugu people. There is a reason why the Enugu electorate chose to vote for Honorable Chijioke Edoga, and everyone involved in that election should have respected the position of Enugu people. They chose a candidate who they felt could better their lives. Enugu State has suffered so much within 24 years of PDP rule in Enugu, and somebody came and offered them a breath of fresh air, and people who felt they controlled the system felt that they should deny Enugu State people the choices they've made, the expression of their wishes. They have manifested that on the 18th of March. They gave Chijioke Edoga their mandate to hold in trust for them. People who felt that they determine how the people will live, how they will survive, subverted, truncated the wishes of Enugu people. And we urge every well-meaning Nigerians to stay very vigilant, because the enemies of democracy are it again. They are hovering around. And if what happened in Enugu is not abetted, if it is allowed to dovetail into other states, this democracy is imperiled. This democracy is under threat. Adamawa has just spoken. Their people spoke very loudly, and I don't know why it happened in Adamawa. It had the same scenario in Adamawa, Abia, Enugu, and Enugu State was allowed to go into the wrong direction. Why? Because Enugu State does not have the people who spoke up, who stood up in Adamawa to say that the wishes of their people must be respected. Is it because Enugu State does not have the big money bags? Is it because that they felt that our candidate was not rich enough from the money the candidates of the other parties have stolen from the system? Is that the reason why the wishes of Enugu State people should be truncated? I've never seen anything like this happen before. It is the new law, like a national newspaper said. Thank you, and God bless you, gentlemen.
Coalition for
Labour Party.
Okay, Labour Party Coalition for True Democracy speaks clearly on the robbery against Labour Party in Enugu State. Where I want you to take particular interest, it's where 33,000 votes were returned in a place where they had 15,000 accredited votes. What magic did they do? How is it possible? It's supposed to be from the 15,000 that were supposed to get the people that will vote.
Yeah.
But they suddenly turned out 33,000 votes because they had the intention of rigging the election. And it is surprisingly because it's coming from the INEC. The electoral officer had done his job. The bylaw says wherever you have overvoting, cancel. But instead of them to cancel it, they went back, did whatever meeting they did elsewhere, came back and approved 33,000 votes. And we are saying that this cannot stand. The election, the result of that election must be revisited. Labour Party won clearly, squarely in Enugu State. And anything outside that will not be accepted. Thank God they say, if you agree, go to the court. We have gone to the court, but in the court of public opinion, it is clear that Labour Party won. If you go down to the street of Enugu, when they announced the PDP candidate, there was no celebration. It was like a piece of graveyard. Because people knew who they voted for. And they were willing, they staked, if you repeat that election 100 times, Labour Party will win. Because even the candidate has questions all over him, including not even able to do youth service. It's a case before him. I has not been able to prove that he has done youth service. He brought a fake certificate. So it is time we begin to probe deeper some of these characters that are coming up. So we are still saying and insisting that Labour Party won, and INEC must do the correct thing if they really want democracy to survive in Nigeria. Thank you.